Coming up on Valley News Live at 10, where deputies found 2 burglary suspects after a day-long search.
Local Haitians react to devastation in their homeland.
Plus, how the drought is causing farmers to make some drastic moves. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening, everyone. A new face to introduce you to tonight, but first, some breaking news. Cass County Sheriff Jesse Johnner says they've caught up with the burglary suspects they've been searching for most of the day.
Now, after 2 separate tips from the public, the sheriff says the pair, a man and a woman, were found walking separately near the North Cass County cornfield, which was the central focus of the search.
27-year-old Josh Momsen was arrested for numerous charges, including burglary, criminal mischief, criminal reckless endangerment, and giving false information to police. 51-year-old Joe Ellen Hansen was arrested for burglary.
Now, the pair initially ran into the cornfield after they were approached by people living in that area.
The death toll in Haiti continues to climb tonight, now reaching close to 1,500, with nearly 7,000 injured as heavy rains threaten to complicate rescue and aid efforts. The country was devastated by a 7.2 magnitude earthquake, and local members of the Haitian community in the Fargo-Moorhead area are reacting to the destruction and loss of life. Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor has this story.
It was a devastating weekend for Haiti as a strong earthquake rumbled through the country.
When I'm looking my country, so it's a big problem. A lot of people, feel very bad. We cry. And
local members of the Haitian community are filled with grief as they watched loved ones deal with the catastrophe.
Every house is over there broke down, and everyone in the street, they still to call me every day, but I try to call them. But it's terrible right now.
This isn't the first time Haitians have been in such difficult circumstances. More than a decade ago, another earthquake caused widespread destruction in the country, killing roughly 300,000 people. But the news of this weekend's tragedy is heartbreaking for some living here in the Fargo-Moorhead area.
It's like heartbreaking to hear the testimonies and what people been saying and how people sleep, how they eat. There's no food, there's no water, there's no tent for them. It's a very sad situation.
The pastors tell us they've been working to help provide better opportunities for the citizens of Haiti.
We are building a school that will provide technical skill for young men and women.
People walk in, we make money together and build a church, build school, and try to help everyone over there. And we have a project over there, but now everything destroyed.
Fortunately, Pastor Paul Aladen says their school in Haiti is still standing, but Pastor Xavier says the destruction has delayed their plans to open next month. But both believe in this time of crisis, the country is going to need a lot of help.
I just want the community to know that we need their support and their prayer.
Nishay Taylor, Valley News Live.
A tropical depression is also expected to hit Haiti, threatening more destruction for the country.
Well, no shortage of heat today, but at least we didn't have to put up with the smoke that central and western North Dakota had to deal with. Let's get the latest on that from Hutch. Hutch.
Tom, thanks so much. Good evening, everyone. And I got to tell you, it was another hot and very muggy day across the valley. Our western counties seeing a little bit of evidence of this smoke, and we can see it in the upper atmosphere here in the eastern part of North Dakota. But here is a look at the visible satellite earlier today. We did have some of that haze moving over the valley, even into western Minnesota. But again, our visibilities didn't suffer from that. Where the visibilities were deteriorated was out to the west, and they remained that way, where we have 5 miles or less, and that smoke, you can definitely smell it. The air quality out west is nasty. Here's that smoke forecast. Here's the thick smoke with the very poor air quality out to the west, which is unhealthy, and it stays that way for most of the day tomorrow. Notice it does not advance into the valley. Our south winds kind of keeps that at bay. If there is a chance for some smoke and lowered air quality, it will be that Devil's Lake Basin that we saw, and there's a little evidence of it. It finally kind of lightens up just a little bit as we head into the day on Wednesday. Now, we're going to deal with the heat. We're going to deal with a little smoke here and there, but we also have the benefit of dealing with a chance of rain. I'll have details on all of that just in a few minutes.
Good news there. Thanks, Hutch.
Yeah.
Well, testimony in Mandan today turned to talk of blood analysis and DNA evidence for the beginning of week 3 in the Chad Isaac quadruple murder trial. The prosecution spent the day asking how certain evidence collected from the crime scene and from Chad Isaac's property was tested. Now, some parts of Isaac's truck tested positive for human blood, but his clothing, the knife, and parts of the gun found in his home did not. The defense will have the opportunity to question the DNA findings in the case tomorrow morning and will have the chance to call witnesses toward the end of the week.
A heads up about a large police presence you'll be seeing this week. The Cass County Sheriff's Office and Cass County Rural Fire and EMS are conducting an active shooter training at Central Cass School. That training will take place on Wednesday from 6 to 10 p.m. It will involve a large law enforcement presence, but there is no threat to the public.
With less than 2 weeks until the Great Minnesota Get-Together, hundreds of workers are still needed for the fairgrounds. Pufa Yang talked with vendors about the issues they're facing.
For Manny Gonzalez, food is about the experience.
We put cheese.
And this year, he gets to give that experience to Minnesota State fairgoers.
I'm so excited. I wait for a year to do this.
But Gonzalez admits it's been a tough transition.
Where are the workers? Nobody wants to work anymore. You know, they're like, it's so hard.
Gonzalez has had to ask family members to work for him due to lack of employees. He pays roughly $11 to $12 per hour, but says some applicants aren't happy with it.
People want a lot of money now to work, like just to cut pineapples, you know, just to be a cashier.
Other vendors have increased their pay wage and are willing to pay more to those with experience.
And we upped $1 an hour more for returning people, and we pay more than minimum wage.
A state fair spokesperson says approximately 30 vendors have about 300 positions to yet fill. On top of that, the fair itself is hiring for 400 positions. Despite the deficit, organizers say they're going to make it work.
We're ready.
As of now, the state fair will not be requiring masks and proof of vaccinations. They also won't be limiting daily visitors. But with less than 2 weeks out, that could still change. In Falcon Heights, Pafu Yang, WCCO4 News.
Now, Minnesota has extended by another week its $100 reward program for people to get their COVID-19 vaccine. Any Minnesotan who gets their first shot through Sunday can now claim the $100 Visa gift card. We have the link to apply on our website. Anyone who has received their first shot since July 30th is eligible. And there are a few options for getting a convenient COVID vaccine tomorrow from 5 to 7 tomorrow night. Sanford is hosting a free vaccination clinic for residents of the Arbors at McCormick Park and any neighbors. In Grand Forks, their mobile vaccination sites are winding down, but they do have several options this week. You can find all those dates and times on our website, valleynewslive.com, or the free VNL News app. Just click this story on our homepage.
2 people with ties to the GOP in Minnesota are facing sex trafficking charges. One of them is a now suspended student at the University of St. Thomas. She's 19-year-old Gisela Castro Medina, who is also chair of her college GOP chapter. Now, she appeared in federal court in Minneapolis today facing charges she conspired with a top Republican donor and activist to traffic minors for sex. Federal prosecutors say Medina, along with 30-year-old Tony Lazaro, face federal charges for allegedly recruiting 6 minor victims to engage in sex acts. Medina faces 7 federal charges, including 1 count of conspiracy to commit sex trafficking of minors, 5 counts of sex trafficking of 1 minor, and 1 count of obstruction. Lazaro gave tens of thousands of dollars to Republican campaigns, party units, and political action committees in recent years. His close ties to Jennifer Carnahan, the state party chairwoman, have prompted calls for her resignation.
The swift fall of Kabul led to chaotic and disturbing scenes at the airport as Afghans tried to climb onto a U.S. military plane. Hundreds of Afghans packed into an American C-17 fleeing. Roxana Saberi has the latest from the Afghan capital.
With undeniable desperation, Afghans clung to a U.S. military plane as it took off today from Kabul airport. Fleeing from the Taliban any way they could, at least 2 fell to their death. On the ground, more pandemonium and gunshots. The The Pentagon says U.S. troops shot and killed 2 armed Afghans in self-defense, as 6,000 forces will be used to airlift Americans out. America's 20-year war is ending as it started, with the Taliban in charge, strolling through Kabul's once fortified Green Zone, home to the now shuttered U.S. Embassy, taking selfies and seizing the national TV station. Like before, they pledged to punish looters and thieves according to Sharia law. This video posted online appears to show just that. But this time, they're promising to allow girls to go to school and women to work. The Taliban have said that they will respect women's rights, so you don't believe them?
I don't.
Pashtana Durrani was helping educate girls in Kandahar until the Taliban seized the southern city last week, sending her into hiding. What do you think would happen to you if the Taliban find you now?
I don't know.
They could do something to you.
They find me, they make me suffer torture 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. I'm gonna die.
Durrani is more worried about girls like Sharifah. The 8-year-old told us she lost her leg in a Taliban attack on her village. But when we asked what frightens her most, does anything scare you? She told us not being allowed back to school to become a doctor.
Now, women and girls aren't the only ones at risk. Afghans who worked for the Americans or the Afghan government fear for their safety. You're probably wondering who the new face here is on Valley News Live. Let me welcome Tom Tucker to our 10 o'clock news team. Tom, we're so excited to have you here.
Thanks, Stacey. It's great to be with you. It's a privilege. It's an honor to be with you and the rest of the team here at Valley News Live. You and Mike Morkin, for a long time, have been setting a very high bar for our viewers here in the Fargo-Moorhead area. And I'll just look to hopefully maintain that bar that you guys have set. And for those of you wondering at home, if Mike is going anywhere, he's not. He'll continue to co-anchor Valley News Live at 6. So know that that'll be the case. It'll be great to still be working with both Mike and you, Stacey.
Best of both worlds, huh?
For sure. And thanks for the welcome.
Yes, welcome, Tom. So happy to have you.
Thank you much. Great to be here.
Later on Valley News Live at 10, drought conditions continue to impact cattle ranchers, leading to early sales.
Not only was it hot today, it was humid as well. In the low 90s, Grand Forks, Fargo, and out to the west, 104 in Minot today. Looks like another hot one, but at least the air quality remains pretty good here in the valley, near 40 in Grand Forks and Fargo. Your hour-by-hour forecast is coming up. Join us. Weather is next.